Hey guys, before we start this video, I did just want to say a lot of you keep asking me whatever happened to the gaming news that you used to put on this channel, and I'm doing it somewhat for big pieces of news, E3 coverage and things like that, but a lot of the smaller pieces of news are now going over on my gaming channel, and if you want to check that out, there's a link in the description box, or you can just search for Boogie Plays Games or go to youtube.com/BoogiePlaysGames, and you'll see me playing games several days a week, talking about news, unboxing Magic cards, and all kinds of other goodies. Please check it out. What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet, and it looks like it's pretty much official at this point. We are absolutely getting an upgraded PlayStation 4 known as Project Neo. Now, if you pay attention to rumors, you've probably heard about this quite a bit over the last month. I wanted to wait until we got something official to talk about it. Well, we have that official documentation, so let's talk about it. Now, before we get started here, I should say that coming up with an upgraded version of a console in the middle of a generation is not surprising at all. This happens all the time. With the Xbox 360, we of course had the Elite. I think we eventually had a Slim there. There was a PlayStation 3 Slim. Nintendo has added extra RAM to their consoles before. We've seen this all the time. However, this is the first time we've ever seen upgraded processor, upgraded GPU, and upgraded memory. These upgrades are going to allow you to have a much higher and much more stable frame rate. It's going to allow you to be able to put out in 4K if the game allows that, or it can be upscaled to 4K if it's not native to 4K. I don't think very many games at this prior level will be 4K. And more importantly, this is going to make for a much more stable environment for the PlayStation VR. And honestly, being able to up-res previous games or having a Neo version of future games is important and kind of cool, but that's not the real reason I think behind this change. The real driving force between PlayStation 4 Neo is probably PlayStation VR. Frame rate is absurdly important when it comes to virtual reality, and this is something they absolutely had to get right, and it's something the PlayStation 4 probably couldn't do very well. Now, a lot of PlayStation owners are actually very upset about this. Some of them just bought a PlayStation in the last year. They probably paid between $300 to $350 for it, and now there's going to be an upgraded version for $400, and that makes a lot of people pissed. In order to attempt to counteract that, the guys over at PlayStation have said there'll never be anything exclusive to the Neo. If you can play it on the Neo, you can also play it on the PlayStation 4. It just might not be the same frame rate or resolution. But PlayStation 4 owners are not the only people that are upset about this. It looks like a lot of developers are calling this a pain in the ass. In fact, the founder of Bioware said the whole purpose of consoles is the set of requirements that you work against from a hardware perspective. To change that is complete lunacy. Basically, whenever you try to develop for a PC, it's a pain in the ass because you have all of these different components, all of these different machines that are going to run at vastly different resolutions and speeds. But when you design for a console, you have a set piece of hardware, so you only have to design the game once for that particular set of hardware. Now, whenever somebody designs for the PlayStation 4, they basically have to make a choice. Are we going to design the game for the base PlayStation with a bunch of up-res options for the Neo, or are we going to design the game for the Neo with a bunch of down-res options for the PlayStation 4? I guess it is possible that Sony will not push people to create games that look better on the PlayStation Neo, but if they don't do that, if they don't support the hardware, then you're just going to have warehouses full of this thing the same way you do the PlayStation Vita when they abandoned that. But I think a lot of gamers agree that even if you're not going to be using the 4K options and you're not going to get a specially tailored 4K version of the game, having much more stable frame rates and a better looking 1080p is probably very, very welcome. Which is good because that has to be the selling point for this console. 4K resolution is great, and there's a good number of computer monitors that do that. There's a lot of televisions that do that as well, but they are very, very expensive, and as a result, not a lot of homes have 4K televisions and don't really need 4K resolutions. They need better frame rate. And as I said earlier, frame rate is the most important part of having a good virtual reality experience. So the reason the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift has such incredible PC requirements is because they have to keep that frame rate up to 60 or 90 frames per second in order to have a good experience. And when those frame rates drop, you get very, very sick. It throws you out of the immersion. It can actually make you sick to your stomach and make you take your headset off. I'm sure that's been a problem with the PlayStation 4, and the PlayStation 4 Neo will hopefully alleviate that problem with PlayStation VR. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of scratching my head here because I understand the purpose of this upgrade. Obviously, it's to compete with PC, it's to make sure that it stays ahead in the console wars, and it's obviously to help out PlayStation VR. But they're planning to sell this alongside the PlayStation 4. They're not going to stop manufacturing the PlayStation 4. And that's really, really weird to have two different PlayStation 4s on the shelf at Walmart, especially because I think the target audience for the Neo is very, very small. I mean, sure, you do have console players who do care a lot about frame rate, but I don't know if they care enough to re-buy a console at a higher price. You do have the ones who have 4K televisions and would love to see their games in 4K resolution. I'm one of those people, but I think there are very, very few of us. And then, of course, there's the people that are interested in PlayStation VR like me, and they are looking for the best possible virtual reality experience that they can get. But again, I think that's only a small portion of us here in the first couple of years. I simply don't think they're going to sell a lot of units. But if you're somebody that waited till just now to buy into this console generation, it's a really good deal. And if you're somebody who sold off its PlayStation 4 previously and are looking to rebuy this holiday season, this is the way to go. But the biggest obstacle, I think, of course, here is going to be the developers. Do you force the developers to play along, or do you ask them politely to? And if you do ask them politely, how many are actually going to? And if there's not enough software supporting the machine, then it's just going to sit on shelves. But if nothing else, I guess this does serve as an interesting footnote in the history of gaming consoles. The first time we've ever seen an almost next generation machine in the middle of an existing generation. Even though it's not a huge upgrade, it is a slight upgrade, and one that'll make a difference in the performance, and it's just never really been done at this scale, at this level before, and I think that's cool. But hey, that's just one man's opinion. I could be wrong. I probably will pick up a PlayStation Neo if it's available this fall or in the early next quarter to go along with my PlayStation VR. I am interested in picking it up to see what the big difference is. And of course, I'll review it for you here or over on the gaming channel. I'm curious, will you pick one up? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a stupid idea? Do you think Microsoft will end up following suit, or if they're going to stick with their machine all the way to the end of this generation, or they're just going to cut their generation short? I don't know. It's a fascinating topic to me, as always. I get nervous talking about the console stuff because a lot of the times some of the console fans will get up in my face and in my Twitter for a few days, but I'm not afraid of those guys. Bring it on. Get as mad at me as you want, especially in the comments section below. I look forward to reading your comments. Guys, thanks for watching. I love you very much, and I'll speak with you again soon.